That y'all be really inclusive, challenge them, give them work to do. We expect them to be very reliable and attentive in all meetings. So if there's a problem with that, which we definitely do not think will happen, but just let me know. And then freshmen will handle that as a team. But just really thank you all for this opportunity to get to pour into these younger folks, and as the older ones, just really pursue them out and make them feel at home.
Yeah. And that on Thursday, sorry, that email's going to be from me. So Anybody else like to utilize open forum?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hannah Project. I'm a junior here in public administration.
I'm Bethany Daniel. I'm a doctoral candidate in human development and family studies.
And we're here tonight just to introduce ourselves because we are working on a project right now to establish a polling location on Auburn's campus. So really we're just here tonight to let you know that's happening and that we're going to be back in the next few weeks with all the information you might need to allow you to read through that, ask questions. If you have anything in between that time, feel free to contact us. Feel free to contact us if you have any strong thoughts or important information. But that's coming out on the pipeline. So yeah, thank you.
Just clarification, you mean polling location is in somewhere on campus is going to be a valid voting location for students? Great.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And we would like to know the University of Alabama already has one and has for years. And so that's typically kind of our go-to. So we think it's completely reasonable to have.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else like to utilize open forum? Alright, so now we're gonna move to roll call. Mr. Simmons, please pick up your eye, clickers, and press A.
So quickly, one more time.
Alright, so the minutes were sent out electronically. There was a correction that was made. Is there any other corrections that need to be made? Anybody see any other corrections? It was Brad, or Kirsten's name was corrected, or Brad's name was corrected. So, any other corrections seen on the minutes? Alright, seeing none, those were approved and corrected. So now we'll move into reports with officers, starting with Chaplain.
Hey guys, happy Monday. So I have three main things going on this week in program. So number one, does anyone know what it is? Make sure to come out and engage with students. This is such an awesome opportunity each of you have to meet the people of your colleges and result of that become a better example of the student voice. So by getting to the people in your colleges will better be able to represent them. So please take full advantage of this opportunity. Enjoy food on a campus green. And if you see the Hater team, hope a good job because they've done an awesome job planning this. This upcoming Sunday, we also have an SAU scholarship program. So doors will open at 5:30 and then program will begin right at 6 o'clock p.m. So pirate cards are all that students need to get in this year. So that's something new. Students will not need to pay to get into the program. So 6 o'clock, Telfair Pete, Miss AU this upcoming Sunday. And then lastly, game day experience committee. So this year, SGA has revamped our game day experience committee. This committee is made up of 9 organizational representatives and 12 students that were selected during application process. And they are currently meeting right now with a member of athletics to directly bring the student voice to athletics. So that's something awesome that's going on, a way that administrators and athletics are directly wanting to hear the student voice on that. So very good to have that one straight out of each of you. So that's all. Thank you.
I want to give a huge shout out to that team. The programming team is such a great touch point for the student body. Definitely want to encourage you also at Payday on Wednesday, one of my favorite days of the year. Definitely use that time. It's all about saying, hey, having that actual connection with people who you might not know or might not be friends with otherwise. So take advantage of that to get feedback. You'll have a lot of really impressive things that are speaking for the student body, and I'm really excited to see that tonight and then upcoming and hearing conversations with a lot of y'all. And I'm just really proud of this group. I think that the way that you're going to be able to use your position right now to represent the student voice and then make potential changes or suggestions that are going to impact the student body, your constituents, but also the Auburn family and the university to come. Don't take it lightly. So definitely make sure you are things I do want to share though. So tomorrow is October 1st, and y'all, I think, has everybody got an email, raise your hand if you got an email from OIT about the email change? Okay, awesome. So tomorrow, you will be signed out of your email account as your @tigermail.auburn.edu changes over to just @auburn.edu. Big snaps for that because I remember as a freshman that was super confusing. Which one goes first? How do you do this? Why is it so long? So I think that that's really going to make our emails look more professional, but also easier to use. So please share those graphics. It was in the This Week at AD or at SGA email. Y'all gotta email about it. So please share that. Also tell your constituents. Make sure it's midterms week. You don't want anyone to log out their emails. And then with all these programs, please participate. But keep promoting Flunch. That's an initiative that has been passed through a lot of different administrations, and we're really proud to see that. Another example is just of the power of the Student Senate and just things that SGA has been able to accomplish that happened today. So we had the provost sign off on a syllabus bank, next steps moving forward with that. So we are now going to be able to work with OIT to make sure that that syllabus bank, which was a project for both Cabinet and Senate, beginning in December 2016, is as effective for the student body as possible. So thank you to all the work you're doing right now, but I just want to empower you that this work really is going to impact students right now, but also students later. So y'all are doing a great job. Keep it up. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Just want to reiterate something Mary Margaret said about the Tiger Mail. So it may sign you out tomorrow of your app on like Outlook, on your computer, on your phone. So just be sure to sign back in. And if you have any questions, just let people know. And the other thing, budgets are being presented tonight. I just want to thank the B&F team for all that they've done. They put in a lot of long hours over the summer, working on these, and then through the committee meetings and everything like that. We went through, made spending cuts, and I feel really good about where we stand with the budget right now. Encourage y'all to ask me questions tonight, and get to know the budgets through the B&F.
Alright, yep, so that's it for reports from officers. Appreciate it. Now we're going to reports from colleges, starting with large.
Casting at large. The large team just wants to wish everybody that's going to Gainesville this weekend have a safe trip, and just remember that we are representing Auburn. So just have a good time and be very friendly.
War Eagle.
Agriculture,
No report.
business,
No report. I have a Willoughby Business. So the College of Business is hosting a competition right now on October 30th for any students to speak in front of judges and share their business ideas for a chance to win $2,000. So if you guys know anyone that would be interested, I think it's a great opportunity to get out there and share ideas and just think innovatively. It's more fun. So yeah, thanks guys.
Cassie,
Lynn Cassie. Hey guys, just want to get into y'all a quick update on like student council Cassie and everything. We've been meeting a couple times, and we've kind of made one of our big goals this year to not only like help the Cassie's invite right now, but also set up the next president, vice president, senator. We're trying to come up with some literature that we can get in place, so that way it's easier for these seats to roll over to someone else, and they're in a place where they can get moving right off the start. We're talking about maybe getting some kind of document or something that will list all the things we've done this past year, all the emails, all the names, all the phone numbers. So if y'all have anything that's kind of like that in y'all's colleges, we'd really appreciate any help y'all have with it. And I'd also like to make a motion to move ESSR 19-10-07-02 Exercise Medicine on Campus Month from a future order of business to a current order of business.
Second.
alright, it's been moved and seconded to move this into a current order of business. Is there any debate? Alright, seeing no one not moving to a vote, all those in favor of moving this resolution into a current order of business, please say aye and click A. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. This will now be a current order of business. Alright, COSAM,
Austin at COSAM. We're meeting with our schools council tomorrow morning at 7, just to discuss some stuff before Hay Day comes, which we'll also be participating in outside of COSAM. And then just want to shout out the Office of Inclusion and Diversity in COSAM. They
to everybody. We've been having some difficulties getting any consistency with the office hours. There are just a lot of buildings inside of engineering, 6 of us. So we have decided with the wonderful new Engineering Student Center, that'll be a great place for as many of us to meet as possible. So Thursdays from 2 to 3, if there is any engineering student who would need to get in contact with us, please send them to the Student Center during that time. Thank you.
All right. Forestry and wildlife,
No sports.
grad school.
Great, grad school. I just wanted to announce one thing that the Graduate Student Council has been trying to do and finally got implemented. It's called Tiger Sitting Service. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but essentially the premise of it is for undergraduate students to tiger sit, to babysit graduate students, professional students' kids, so they can, go to class and go to their assistantship or practicum sites. So if you want to let your constituents know that that's a position that they can get involved with because they're looking for more tiger sitters, that'd be really helpful to, help us all kind of grow our professionalism. Thank you.
All right, liberal arts.
For liberal arts, so our school council is going to be participating in Payday, and we're going to be out in front of Kitchener just during the time period. So tell people you know liberal arts, come by, say hey to us. And also, last week we had an O-Day table out, and we were gathering feedback for a fee that our dean is looking at putting on college liberal arts students to expand our career services department. So we will bring that back next week and just let y'all know what that said.
Nursing.
Raoul Nursing. So 2 weeks ago, the nursing school hosted an involvement browse targeted at pre-nursing students, and SGA had a table there, and there were some really, really interesting pre-nursing students. So I'm anticipating a lot of freshman faces next term. Pretty excited about that. Thank you.
Vet med.
No report.
All right. That's it for reports for the colleges. We're now moving to committee reports, starting with academic affairs.
Tell engineering. So I want to give snaps to Sadak, and just for a little bit of closure on a situation we had a couple of weeks ago, I brought up the situation where there were a couple of global students that felt like language testing could have been better, just pre-testing before coming to Auburn. And we did a little bit of research on that, and that entire entity of Auburn Global had a restructuring over this past summer. And so they are doing a better job at that. But that just brings up another point where global students are a huge part of this campus, and being able to reach out to them and help them with their needs is important. So just be sure to get what their needs are and try to be able to help them in the best way possible moving forward.
All right. Budget and finance.
City business, same as president. I want to start off before I get into my report. I know we have a few freshmen in the room that considering certain mentorships, and just want to let you know what Allie and Hudson were talking about earlier. If you have any questions about any of the 5 committees you're about to hear from, and in particular budget and finance, please feel comfortable reaching out to me, whether it's after the meeting. My contact information is available as well, whether on the website or just come up and find me. That's really your best way. Or any of the team members you'll see presenting our current order bills tonight for the 2019-2020 fiscal budget. We'd love to hear from you, get to know you, and even put in a word for someone that we feel might be the best fit to help our team and potentially represent the BNF team one day as well. So look forward to speaking with you all as well. As I said, the 2019-2020 fiscal budgets will be coming through tonight. Look forward to any comments, questions, or concerns you might have that you might not have had a chance to come up with maybe over this past week, or maybe some new questions on top of the ones that y'all have been actively asking about. I'd also like to thank Hunter Short. He thanked the budget and finance team a little earlier. Hunter has been a huge help as well, along with Brad Smith, of course Pearson Brown, Corey Edwards, and several of the advisors, and of course the SAP treasurers. I'll speak a little more later on, thanking them again, but truly grateful for all the hard work everyone's put in. This is a team effort that makes my student experience better, it makes your student experience better, and I can't wait to hopefully get these passed tonight to make the student experience the very best it can be. So, thank you.
All right, code of laws.
For liberal arts. So code education is going to be picking up next week. I know that's been in the works for a minute. But if there's any topics that you or your team is interested in knowing more about, or just like have questions about, chances are that probably somebody else does too. And so me and my team would love to be able to break that down and explain it, just because sometimes the code can be a little bit more confusing than we need it to be. And then also, just another reminder, if your school council is updating your constitution, that does have to go through Senate, and me and my team will be more than happy to look over it before it does hit the Senate floor. And then you can find my contact information through y'all or on the website. So, thank you.
All right, inclusion and diversity.
Osmond Co-Sam. First want to say we're super excited to have our liaison from Spectrum, Jacob. He joined us this week. So yes. We're looking forward to doing a lot of great work with Jacob and the rest of Spectrum. And also super excited to get to work with one of the freshmen next week. Feel free to reach out to me afterwards if you have any questions also, like Dave said. And then lastly, we're working on an inclusivity checklist. Y'all may have heard me mention this before. We're starting to get that pretty finalized, so if you're interested in that and have some input, reach out to anyone on my committee or me. We are currently benchmarking with other schools to see where ours stands before we start to write the resolution for that. But we're looking forward to finalizing that in the coming weeks and getting that passed so it can be implemented this year. So that's all.
All right, student affairs.
Oh, and the Lord. I just wanted to say the Student Affairs Committee has two resolutions coming that just passed our committee earlier today. One will be the logo change, and the other one will be a resolution for exercise and medicine on campus. These centers have worked very, very diligently under a tight-knit, close time frame to get these and vote on behalf of your constituents. Also, our subcommittee on dining has met with dining last week, which she had made 3 meetings actually with several dining officials, and we're in the process of lining up a Auburn interest for outreach sometime in the next few weeks. Thank you all.
And exec committee's announcement is just that Google form for office hours that she's been working on will be out this week. So if you have any more questions, ask Senator Huntley about that. She can make it to that. All right, so now we'll move to reports of special committees and liaisons, ISF.
Manala Housing, this October 15th to 16th, there is an event launch for a Sound Mind, and a Sound Mind promotes mental health, and it's going to be right outside Starbucks, and I feel this is a very important, and what this committee is trying to do is be another point of reach and resources for students, because from what housing is trying to preach is that there are a lot of students that suffer from mental health, and we feel that if you guys were there and told other people to be there, I feel this is a really good opportunity. And there's free shirts and stuff. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. That's it for reports. Now we move into current orders of business.
ESSB 1909-3001, Programming Final Budget.
Strong engineering. So we talked about this bill last week. This is for the University Programming Council. I didn't receive any questions about it. I worked very closely with the treasurer, and I think it's an incredibly responsible request. And I just wanted to know if anyone had any questions now. Yes.
Senator Sam, I just wanted to ask a question. So I know that UPC just had their recent talent cancel on them. So could you clarify where that money is going to go in regards to next year if a similar event happened? I just wanted to be aware of like how that money was going to be allocated after the fact if it's not being used for the talent.
Yeah, so that's something that our advisors can probably speak to as well.
new business. Like I said, we talked about this last week after a week of answering questions and working things out. If anyone has any questions today, that's great, but if not, we can pass it over.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to pass this bill just read. Is there any other debate? Seeing none, we'll now move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye and click A. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and this bill is also adopted.
PSSD 1909-3003, emerge final budget request.
This is brought by Senator Beatty.
BD Engineering. Didn't receive any questions on this. Talked about it last week. If there are any other questions, I'm going to look at this now. I'll be glad to answer. That being said, I'm going to pass this bill as written.
All right, it's now moved and seconded to adopt this bill just read. Is there any debate? Seeing none, we'll now move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye and click A. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. This bill is adopted.
PSSB 1909-3004, student media final budget request.
This is brought by Senator Gill.
Gil, yes, ma'am. I also, we talked a little bit about this last week. I didn't receive any questions about it. I'd be happy to answer any now, but if not, I can pass this bill.
Is there any debate? Seeing none, we'll now move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye and click A. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. This bill is adopted.
PSSB 1909-3005, service final budget request.
This is brought by Senator Layton.
Late in education, we talked about this bill last week, and I didn't have any questions this week, so if there aren't any tonight, I move to pass this bill as written. Second.
Is there any debate? It's moved and seconded to adopt this bill. So seeing no debate, we'll now move into a vote. All those in favor, please say aye and click A. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and this bill is also adopted.
PSSB 1909-3006, student governance final budget request.
This is brought by Senator Rutland and Dunn.
Well, Cassie, Sam couldn't be here tonight, so James is going to help me answer any questions for the SGA app. Sam worked really hard with Hunter and getting their budget ready and everything. He talked a little bit about last night. I worked really hard with Madison and Ashraf on the ESU and ISO portion of these budgets. I didn't receive any questions for it. I don't know if Sam received any, but if there's any questions now, I'd love to answer them.
Taylor, okay, Sam. I just wanted to point out a discrepancy in the budgets right here, specifically with NBSU. I noticed that in BSU and in the admin budget, both are allocating funds for the GLOM for that particular organization. I didn't know if this has been rectified yet, but I just wanted to point that out so we're not double allocating funds in that respect.
It should be, Brad might have to, but I think we
That's
should
what I've been
all
looking on my
belongs.
phone about as well.
Just in the budgets that got sent out to us, there's two. But out there, I didn't know if it was the same in any other organization's budget. Since we passed them, it clearly doesn't matter. I just noticed it in BSU, so just want to make sure that we weren't double distributing.
I think we took out all the belongs and added them to one. I'll just give some context real quick to what we're doing with the belong this year. So instead of, we've got a couple different Robert Peter Pay Paul type situations from the past where it's we allocate money out to a group and then that group has to send that money back to another group and why spend the time doing that. So if that's the case, it's not on there.
Okay, it was just sent out on the one that was sent to us. I just didn't know if they
Maybe
wanted
it's
to
just
change
an
it
old
on.
version or
It was just on the student involvement admin and the BSU, so and they were different amounts, so I was just really confused looking at the budgets.
Yep. So on the student involvement admin, that's where they should be. So that's where we were collecting money for all the different ones that was in there. So it should be there. Are there any other questions?
So, yeah. Can y'all see that?
If you need to locate it, it's on one sent out to us was BSU 2019-2020 final budget details by committee underneath publicity. Guam allocated $300.
trying to figure out that the number overall is right, that it's allocated for. That's what I'm trying to.
So BSU has broken their budget down a step further, and so if you notice here, publicity is for 4,800, with 300 being further along, and if you look on your line item sheet, it's 4,500, which is that number, so 48 minus 300 is where you get that number. So those two are different. The 45 is
That the sheet that Pearson just had pulled up with those yellow highlighting is a sheet being used internally by BSU. That's not. It's a great practice for them to be using. All groups really should be using, but is not one that BNF was using. It's more of a internal document for them that probably wasn't reflected in the budget detail sheet and the overview sheets, which are what are used for determining amounts. Do not have it.
Thank you so much.
Great catch, great question.
Thank you for being proactive on that. But the $45,072 that is allocated for programs for the SU is correct. The final number that does not include, you'll notice that budget we're looking at the very bottom on the final budget, which I'm going to add to, is not part of the legislation that is going through. There was a $600 difference. That $600 difference that came to a final conclusion through the bill writing process is correct, again, at that $45,000. Any other questions? Seeing none, I ask that this bill be passed as written.
Move in second to adopt this bill just read. Any other debates? Questions? So seeing none, we're now moving to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Put A. All opposed? The ayes have it. This bill is adopted.
PSSB 1909-3007 Student Involvement Administrative Budget Request.
This is brought in by Senator Sadie.
Sadie Business, thank you, Mr. President. This week had a couple good questions. Again, GLOM was a concern of many. We saw that the GLOM is included on this. A few others that we got to work out as well under this. Open to any questions. However, if there are not any, I move to pass this bill as written.
Patel Engineering. So under the AU mail, they still have the computer leases from
Yes.
LIT.
So
can you go into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the computer lease program, as we know, we saw the previous reserve fund request from Student Media over their new computers. What happened is their current lease ran out. Other computer leases are still ongoing and have not run out yet. So the leases that are found on this budget only include all the computer leases until the current expiration date, and they will not be renewed again. So the budgeting is for whatever time is left on the different groups, different SAOs that still have leases outstanding.
Do we have a timeline on how long those leases are lasting through LIT?
I believe it's the current fiscal year that they'll all be running out. Is that correct, Brad?
Every single lease has a different expiration date just based on when it was started. So John Michael Reen, our administrative assistants and student involvement all worked together to get the exact dates that every single one of those is going to end in order to figure out the exact amount that we needed to finish out those leases. And then the next line that you'll see in that budget underneath it is for new computer purchases. So it's already been budgeted for replacing those computers because we will not be able to re-lease them since leases are ending. And so the amount that you see for computer leases is the exact amount that it will take to finish the current leases that the office has. And the amount underneath that for new computers is to eventually replace those as they.
clarification on maybe what we've typically done in the past for months like this, and kind of give my general thoughts as well on the idea of adopting as a student senate a month recognizing exercise as medicine. I'm curious on what previous student senates have done in terms of, you have a month come around, you want to recognize it, and I'm kind of curious, Ms. Rutland, your research, is there a reason that maybe the Recreation and Wellness Center isn't the one promoting this? And I don't know if I see it as the student senate's job to declare something as a month amongst ourselves, even though it does benefit the whole student body. That's kind of my thought. I'd love to hear a little bit about maybe if you've talked to the Recreation and Wellness Center, if that's something they want to take on. I just don't want to recognize a month, and I'm curious maybe what we'll be doing too as a university this month beyond just recognizing it as this month. Does that kind of make sense?
Oh yeah, that definitely makes sense. I think that kind of like what this is saying isn't just like the student body saying this, but it's kind of collaboration with Campus Rec and all these organizations, because we did like actually do this once, all these different organizations. Carlos has got to talk with some of these organizations and exercise medicine, so he might be able to speak a little bit better to it than I can.
Yeah. So the campus, to answer your question, as he stated, the people that are in that last whereas statement
Right.
basically have seek interest in terms of revamping this again, and see if it was in the interest of the student body, basically. So not just doing it just to make sure that it's still something that they can still have an interest in, because as he said, in 2015 was the month that they collaborated with these partners. So those directors of the campus recreation and et cetera have also expressed that same interest at this point.
I just like to speak to my fellow senators. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the idea of a student senate adopting something on a monthly, recognizing a month of service amongst the student senate, whether we feel that this is our position as a student senate to do that, or whether maybe we should leave it to the other organizations. I'll say I'm very much in support for the exercise of medicine and what they'd be pushing for, but I'd be curious my other fellow senators' thoughts on recognizing this through a resolution, and maybe our thoughts on the idea behind a resolution and what we think it should be used for, and if this is one of those specific uses that we feel this is something we should use it for. So I'd be very curious to hear some other fellow senators' thoughts on this.
Senator Ward.
Board Liberal Arts. I think as leaders on campus, and just as the fact that we are supposed to represent the student body, that is a really cool position that is put us in, and just gives us opportunity to like advocate for these students and for their health. So I do think that this is something that we should push, and that this is something we should be a part of, just to like show support to these organizations on campus and like these departments, because they are willing to work with us and like put out this information and put out the resources for us to have this month. So I think it'd be a really cool opportunity for us to all come alongside them and like show our support for it.
Senator
Jernigan Education. Would this be a annual event or a one-time thing?
The way that it was that past time, it was just a one-time thing, but I think we're pushing to make it an annual, reoccurring.
Promoting health is important. If we think about it, being healthy stops death. It educates you. It promotes a better lifestyle, a healthy, active lifestyle. And now I understand that you say, oh, maybe 1 month. What is our position? But isn't your position and all of our position to promote a better and inclusive environment for everyone else, for all our peers? Now, I wouldn't want one of my peers to die or to get sick because they're unhealthy. And this is our position. Now, if you don't think 1 month is enough, make it 1 year. But I don't think we should be attacking a resolution like this that's trying to make and educate the people. Thank you.
With this, I just have a question. Would this go into effect like this October? I'm just wondering if we even have materials to like, because
Taylor Costo. Why are we only CCing Campus Recreation and Veterans Association specifically when we're talking more about multiple organizations such as the Med Clinic, Kinesiology, School Pharmacy? If they were all involved in this in the past, should they not also be CC'd as well?
So I believe that these are from the past, the people that are working it, those are the organizations that worked it in 2015. And these are the people that are making the initiative. Like that's sort of
Okay.
the context.
Thank you.
Very debate on that amendment. And seeing none, when I move to, this is on the amendment, not on the resolution itself. Is there any debate on that? Seeing none, when I move to vote, all those in favor of this passage, please say aye. Click yea. Aye. All opposed? Yes, the ayes have it. That has not been amended. Is there any debate still on the resolution itself, Senator Sadie?
City Business, thank you, Mr. President. Just for the record, I do want to say that my intentions for this resolution were never against the idea of the resolution and what it was going towards support of. Huge advocate for our health on campus, huge advocate for all students seeking that help as well. And us as a student body and student organizations and even the campus recreations that are offered to us through our education and tuition and fees, I'm very glad to know something is going towards that. My questions were more in terms of the purpose of what we were asking for, as a previous senator stated as well and clarified for us through her question, and also whether we as a student senate want to be ones that adopt monthly recognitions such as this, and if this is something that us as a student senate want to use resolutions for. And seeing as a debate, that question was answered for me, but again, for the record, I do want to clarify, my intentions were never against the EIMOC and what they stand for and the physical activity and benefits of all of our students. It was more in regards of the purpose of the resolution exactly, and in particular, whether we as a student senate find it appropriate for us to pass a month of recognition. And after this debate, I will say personally that I do see this as an important thing for our student senate to adopt. Thank you for your help on me clarifying that decision for me. Thank you for the great debate that helped me to clear up that thought for myself. So yes, just wanted to clarify that, and also thank you for the debate. It has helped me inform my decision. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to know. Thank you, Senator Sadie.
Taylor Costo. I just want to give pretext to you. I was just looking through all the old student file. We have adopted things similar to this, such as the First 56 initiative, where we put aside 6 weeks to kind of recognize how important it is to take care of yourself and take care of your grades and your health in the past. So I did want to say there is a pretext for adopting a certain amount of time for purpose of student health and safety.
On our housing, to override, to go along what Senator Taylor said, there was a research done by Harvard that said that repetition is the best key to long-term memory. So after the 56 days, we have a whole month. That is the key to success, the key to long-term health.
Is there any other debate?
And I'd like to make a motion to amend the bill to Section 2 right now. Change that annual spelled out to the symbol and add a annual to the city council and services.
Second.
Second.
All right, the motion made to make this amendment. Is there any debate on that amendment? Seeing none, when I move to vote, all those in favor, please say aye. Click A. Aye. All opposed? Representative stands for the pending resolution. Is there any other debate still on the resolution itself? Seeing none, we'll now move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Click A. Aye. All opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Look at the results. Just for both. Please say aye. Click A again. Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, so this resolution passes. Okay. So that is it for current orders of business. We'll now move into future orders of business.
SSR 19100701, student input in visual identity system.
This is brought to you by Senator Dismukes and Senator Nunn.
Business. This is going to be for student input in the visual identity system. So I thought it necessary to go ahead and just read this to you all, and then throughout the week y'all can piece it apart when you look over it, and if you have any questions, set up a time to meet with me or email me or whatnot. Whereas the current interlocking AU has remained relatively unchanged since it was officially licensed as a primary logo in 1970, and the logo has since become deeply ingrained in our history as a university, and it represents Auburn at home and abroad. And whereas the university has begun to move forward with the idea of the implementation of a new visual identity system for Auburn University, an effort to elevate the brand. And whereas the unexpected unveiling of this new identity system to the students, alumni, administration, and other entities has received negative feedback which should never be associated with our logo. And whereas the preliminary effort was made to garner student input on this topic at a meeting on December 3rd, 2018, but officials did not reach out again, although students were told that another meeting would be called. And whereas many businesses and departments on campus cannot move forward with certain projects and initiatives because of the uncertainty of the status of this proposed change. And whereas in this transitional period of leadership for Auburn University, the student body feels that this initiative should not be at the forefront of our worries as a university, as we are dealing with issues that are more pressing in our region. Therefore, let it be resolved that we, the Auburn University Student Senate, advocate progress on the new visual identity system, come to a halt, and ask that future decisions of this magnitude consider the input of the student body and the surrounding market. So, to kind of, I've received some feedback already about it. One of the big questions was, is this supposing the actual logo or the logo change? It's more of the process of the logo change, so giving the students the opportunity to put forth their input, whether they like it, whether they don't like it, whether or not they don't have a preference on it at all. So that was mainly the premise behind it. It's not necessarily saying, hey, we don't like the student logo or the new AU logo. So if y'all have any questions, please email me or yes.
City Business, thank you, Mr. President. Senator Dismukes, have you or Mr. Nunn reached out to the Office of Communication and Marketing or the Office of Public Affairs for the President's Office related to this issue, a matter on the student feedback process?
Like it was said, the input from students was garnered on December 3rd, 2018, but was not reached out again.
Do we know which office that was?
That was, do you know what it was?
Yeah, I believe that's Communications and Marketing Office. That probably.
I would encourage, especially helping us senators this upcoming week, to reach out to them, the OCM, and as well as the Office of Public Affairs within the President's Office as well, who I know has worked very closely on the visual identity system for the university. I do want to say on initial thoughts, the wording of this bill has struck me in a way that personally I would love to see many change and love work with you on the message of it. I personally felt that it was maybe a bit of, I don't know how best to use the word to describe the language of the bill, of getting the point across that we're really trying to. I think it's, when I read come to a halt, that really hit me the wrong way. It's over a $500,000 project we've been working on, and just maybe some things like that to look over. If our goal is to get a seat at the table to talk about it, I'd love to work with you on the wording, and you and Senator Nunn on the wording to maybe go about that way. But I'd also love if y'all are able to reach out to OCM and see their thoughts as well before we go to the passage of this, to see if maybe something can be resolved without even having to pass a resolution and getting a seat at that table without having to go through this process. I just want to make sure we do our due diligence before we call out 2 major offices on campus, if not more than that, on a $500,000 project that benefits all alumni, students, and everybody. So, and great work on you for doing this. There has been feedback that has not all been positive, and it's great to know that our student body is looking out for that, as you and Senator Nunn are doing. But I'd love if y'all could reach out to them to help at least me in that decision-making process for myself.
So to kind of answer that, it's more about the process in that, and kind of this decision was, some of you may have heard it was leaked, that the logo change is going to happen, and so that was more what we were concerned about, was the process that was taking, where the students weren't, asked our opinion. The Auburn family wasn't asked their opinion at all, and kind of just saying, hey, something this major that'll cost the university millions of dollars, that's stopping, like on that second to last whereas, certain projects and initiatives have come to, they can't go forward with this because they don't know which logo to use. So it's more of a, hey, can you at least ask our opinion before going forward with this stuff?
Osmond Kosian. So, kind of echoing what Senator Sadie said, like, I get your point, but I kind of feel like what you're saying is, like, can y'all ask for the students' opinion and feedback before you go about making the change? But when I read the resolution, I'm kind of, I don't want to say, like, a negative connotation, but, like, I kind of feel like it seems like this is going to come as, like, the student senate, which I guess you'd say, like, not exactly against the logo itself, but I think that it was planned, like, in December for it to be, like, a poll to the phasing students, but then that was, like, canceled because it kind of got leaked. So kind of just echoing what he says, I think that I agree with you, students probably do deserve to have a right to say so, but I think that the resolution is kind of sending a different message. I don't know. Also would be willing to work with y'all about, like, wording maybe. I don't know.
BD engineering. I'm gonna sort of echo the same thing that listeners have said, that I'm really just concerned with the progress and coming to a halt spot. I think it's great to ask that we want to see a seat on the table for this, and that the student input needs to be considered. But I would love to see an update on how much money has already gone into this and how much progress they've made. Because if they've already put in a significant sum of money, it seems a moot point to ask them to stop all this progress when we saw that money.
Right, is this, I would also like to echo the language, but I think that a simple way that we could help fix that is maybe have some examples or data to help support that up. So I don't know if we need to go use Auburn Answers on this as a resource, or maybe give more concrete examples to kind of let that speak for what we're trying to say. I know as far as projects, I know several things in Brown Copel have been halted, like this new glass that they're working on because they're not sure which logo to use. So I know that many of us in the room don't know that, and so maybe if we could provide more context and use more concrete examples to help address our concerns, I think that might help with the language a little bit as well.
Speak towards that. We wanted to get this resolution kind of pushed through to make our stance as a student body and saying, hey, we want our voice heard in this before. We talked about sending out a poll, sending out a student survey. We only have so many surveys that we can use and send out to the student body. So, a large part of that decision was, is this something that we need to send? Is this what we want to use those limited number of surveys on, or should we just go ahead and make our stance as a student body and saying, hey, we want, like I said, to see the team.
Taylor Kuzma, Senator Disney, so I just want to give you some feedback from constituents. I know that my particular issue with the wording is the forefront of our worries. I know that a lot of COSAM constituents do not feel that it is a forefront of our worries, and so I would hate for this bill to be presented as that when it's not representative of every single, of the majority of students in our college in particular, that we are more concerned with other issues rather than a logo change, and I would just like to point that feedback out to you.
It says that it should not be at the forefront of our worries.
Yeah, but the wording of it says, like, we should not be at the forefront of our worries, but I read that as is like, so it is at the forefront of our worries. That's why it's written like that, and be like, this is such a pressing issue, that's all we're concerned about. And I really think there's a lot more at hand, so I would just like to give you that feedback.
Will it be business? I do feel like a little bit of grace should be given to Andrew and Sam as they wrote this. As if you look at past resolutions that have been written, it is often this very strong language that is used weeks, and I think we're all on the same page. Could be some parts that could be changed, but I think that the work they have done is good to a certain point, and there could be changes that can be made, but I think that we've been a little harsh.
Are we debating this bill right now, or asking questions? Just still a future order. So if y'all have more questions throughout the week, you want to sit down with me or Carlos or both of us and talk about certain wording issues or kind of purpose changes.
General engineering, has Auburn, so I'm kind of just looking at, through the internet, has Auburn actually came out and announced this anywhere publicly that they've already changed it?
It's kind of one behind it, is saying, because talking to constituents, some of them don't even know that there was any type of debate going on about a logo change at all. Some of them knew that there was a logo change and thought it had been implemented, some didn't think it was going to because they hadn't seen it coming. So the general consensus is that, from talking to the constituents that, I talked to this last week, Ryan, so the resolution was that no one knows what's going on, and kind of just saying, hey, can we get some feedback from the OCM and then the Board of Trustees and saying, you know, what's the update on this? Is this going through? Is this on the table still? You know, have we gone through and started to change things? I know that they started to print them on the banners outside behind Louder. Those banners that came down on the concourse. But, you know, what's going to change next? Or just say, hey, can we figure out where's our stance as a university in this decision? And then, like I said,
I was confused. This question might be more for like Pearson or Brad, but would passing this resolution like have an impact on the process of the logo being taken or not?
So it's like.
Like, would this be a question that we should talk to OCM about without a resolution, or is a resolution necessary to actually have the process halted so we can?
So it's like with any resolution, it will carry as much weight as Senate is able to put into it. Orthodox does that, and you know, bills go through a rounding process afterwards, versus bill would go through anything beyond that would just be based on conversations before and after relevant things.
City business, hey, Mr. President, Mr. Disney, what you just said really helped me on understanding what is trying to be accomplished. And I love the idea of getting some clarification on the visual identity system. I love that. And again, I want to say, after hearing you say that, now I'm really excited to work on the wording of this bill because I think we can really word that in a way that comes off in a very clear manner that I might not have read the first time I read it. I'm just thinking in the eyes of our top faculty and the Board of Trustees coming across this is we're trying to get that answer. I want them to be able to see that the first time they read it through. So very excited to work with you on this. So thank you for everything you've done with this. And I think all the fellow senators from what you just said were helped a lot by your previous comments there. So thank you.
any other questions?
So that is it for future orders of business. Moving now into announcements. So I got a good amount a little bit. So obviously y'all know Hay Day is on Wednesday. It's a really big event, of course, the traditional aspects of it, but as some of you already said, a lot of the schools council counterparts will also be out there. So go ahead and use that as another opportunity to build a relationship, to be able to work with their constituents. Next, Auburn Answers Week. So October 16th through 18th, we'll begin to start coordinating time with their schools council members as well for that. So you'll be able to get locations and details on that. A couple pieces of technology would be beneficial to use for Auburn Answers. If you need an iPad, one or two, just contact me or somebody else and we can get that for you for the involvement suite. But yeah, so be able to put that on your calendar. We'll get more details for that soon. Also, October 15th, there'll be a town hall at 6 p.m. in this room. So it's going to be on academics, so that'd be great for the academic affairs committee to attend and be able to get some feedback on that and bring that back to get some legislation passed through. Another thing, office hours, I said this to cabinet, and I think Senator Hunter might have said something about it, but office hours, they've been getting better over the past couple of weeks. I'm going to set the precedent that the minimum isn't what you just have to get through. I know if there's more time for you to be out on the concourse or attend an event, that would also be helpful. So just because there's supposed to be one for a college and involvement, whatever there's going to be, you can always do more for that week. Another thing, y'all soon be getting an email from some cabinet members. I know a couple have already done the Senator Spotlight thing. So they're basically drawing that out. They'll be reaching out to you to be able to answer all the questions at once, because apparently the replies haven't been flowing in as well as they wanted to be. So they will reach out to you all for the questions to answer, legislation that you'll want to work on, etc. They'll all be drawn out in the email. So I think that's a great tool for us to be able to use the Senator Spotlight so people actually know what Senate does and get to know you as well. And then my legislation of the week, with it being a big week for the basketball, I'd say we got a pretty big recruit. This past weekend, they got their ring for the Final Four. March 18th, 2014, the man was hired by the university. His accomplishments in the past and accolades were all drawn out in this resolution, and they basically listed all those accomplishments and welcomed him as a student body, and that was obviously Bruce Pearl. So that's in box, I believe. So if you want to look at that, you can. But that was just an example of something that Senate's done through the resolutions. So that is all for me on announcements.
Cool. All right, how's everybody doing?
Great.
That wasn't very convincing. How are we doing?
Woo!
Thank you. I know it's been a long
Let's
time.
do it.
Okay, awesome. Great. A little bit of energy. So I know it's been a long night, so I'm going to make this concise, but quick and impactful at the same time. Sound like a deal?
Yes.
Some affirmation. Great. All right, so one of the points that we want to bring to you all this week, in light of Heyday coming up, and we have our Answers Week, and those are just two examples of active ways that we are putting in front of you all to take advantage of, to then talk to the people that you represent. So that's pretty exciting, I think. So before we turn you all on to Heyday and connecting with those folks and really using that outreach opportunity to start talking with some folks throughout the whole entire day and our Answers Week right after fall break, we want to talk to you about what customer service means. So I'm sure some of you have had an opportunity working in customer service in some shape or form, but we want to bring some points together. So Chris, you can hit the next slide. So I know I've been guilty of this, and I'm sure maybe even by show of hands if you want to admit it, is that sometimes active listening can be tough. Yes? Okay, great. So I know sometimes somebody will be pouring out their heart's to you, and they'll be using you as their personal auto answers, and maybe you're not listening as attentively as you should be. We've all been there, but something that I would really like you all to challenge you to is making sure that you are listening accurately. Because if they're sharing some information that's important for you to then ask a follow-up question to further get more information about their story or something that they're struggling with that you can then bring to this room to actually make some active change, then you've missed out on an opportunity. And so I really challenge you all to make sure that you're listening fully and that you are listening actively, so that way if you do have to ask some follow-up questions, you can be prepared to do so and get everything that you need from them. So first challenge there is just to make sure you're listening and you're not thinking of what you need to be asking next before they finish their first question. So next slide is communicating confidently and clearly. And so I know something that we're all trying to lean into now that texting has become more of a thing in our daily verbal communication is talking like we text. And so one thing that I would really also like to challenge you all on is making sure that you are communicating confidently, because at that point when someone is talking to you, you are the face of SGA. And that is their representation of what is their makeup of what they think goes on in this room. So maybe if they aren't able to come here, their interaction with you is what they think SGA is. And so that's really important and something that's also really exciting. They all have the opportunity to show them what you all are all about, and maybe they will come here and learn what you do every week. So make sure when you're communicating that out, and as you listened, that you're communicating confidently and clearly. So making sure that you're
to. So maybe it's someone else in this room, maybe it's someone that you also communicated with, but you can then point them in the right direction of where they can go next. And if you don't know, get their contact information, find out, ask within the people in this room or even in cabinet or beyond SGA and figure out how you can help them and figure out where they need to go next. All right, I don't know if you're all ready for this, but this last slide is the best slide, so here's me. Okay, so it takes more puzzles to find, but it doesn't say where to go. It's actually a true fact that Pearson has said. I know it's cheesy, but it is true. I know like the other term is frown and smile, but here we say where to go, right? And so that's something that a lot of people say on Hey, so I challenge you all to bring your best case forward, really use that as an opportunity to have that outreach point when putting it in front of you, so please take advantage of it. Connect with some students and learn about their story and how you can help them. So that's all I have, but have a great rest of your week and I'll see you ahead.
I'm gonna add something onto that real quick, and for just a second, think about it through a lens instead of customer service, constituent service. I think tonight, last week, and some things that I know we have coming up in the coming weeks when we come here, we're running the risk of being a vacuum in this room. And when we don't allow the time for questions to be answered, because something comes to us the day that we're gonna pass it and haven't done our homework on it, certainly haven't talked to our constituents about it, beyond maybe our closest friend or somebody that was doing an office hour with us. We've got to do better than that. If we are going to customer, constituent serve the people that have elected you to represent them. And so I'm going to challenge you guys to make sure that the things that you're passing in here are not perceived by administration as something that's passing a vacuum and that we shouldn't pay attention to because it's just 34 students that aren't doing a good job of talking and getting the pulse of the student body. Because I think that's a kind of a risk that we're starting to take right now of being perceived that way. So I just want to challenge us to follow the process that is outlined. Really, the only times that we should be moving something up is when we've probably made an error by not following something in the code of laws in a timely manner, or maybe student orgs is out of money and we believe that they need to have that money. We should be having a debate about that instead of disbanding it. But I just want to challenge us to remember that process. It's not to delay things and keep us, again, some of the questions that are being asked tonight don't have to be content driven. It can be process driven. And the process is important because that's what allows you, hopefully, the time to talk amongst one another and ask those questions to make something better than anything's going to be in its first draft. And then also, hopefully, to do what you're elected to do and to do your job and to talk to constituents in your college, people that you don't know, people that are different than you, not just the roommate, not just people that you sit next to in class, but finding ways that you're actually using your office hours to talk about these things. We need to be doing a better job of getting bills up on the SGA website. We need to be pointing people there before they're voted on and saying, hey, go check out what's going on this week and let me know if you have any feedback about it. Because I don't want you guys to be passing resolutions off to administrators that are more in touch with what goes on in this room than you think and are very quick to read when they should truly listen to something because it's genuinely the pulse and desire of the entire student body instead of just what this room rushed because they were trying to check a box. So I just want to challenge you guys with that. For me, that's what customer service needs to mean in this room right now. And let Pearson and I know if you have questions on that.
Alright, so that's it for announcements. So we'll move to adjournment. So senators, please pick up your iPads and press A. Put it out. Alright, that's all for tonight. We adjourn. Right, yeah.
Whatever your needs are.